this week in your FIA F4 Esports Global Championship. This is a circuit that is legendary by its very mention of its name, Suzuka, and the Suzuka International Racing Course here in Mie Prefecture, Japan. Round 3 and 4, after Henry Moore and Dana Moore found their victories, I say, give me a lot more of great, amazing sim racing. Jake Sperry, Taylor Burris, bringing you all of the action today. And Taylor, what a legendary circuit for great sim racing action.
When it comes to racing here at Suzuka, you think of some of the most iconic historical moments. Think of the late 70s Formula One championship down to the wire with both, of course, James Hunt and Niki Lauda at this event, and the impressive drive we've seen from many drivers throughout history of motor racing at this circuit. This will test the limits of every single one of our sim racing competitors who will do battle here today.
It absolutely will, and we'll see that over the course of 15 minutes worth of racing action. But let's talk about where we've been and where we are going over the course of racing action, because this has been a tough season start for them with Zandvoort and the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, which produced an absolute barn burner of a finish. But they only get 24 hours to know what those tracks are going to be that they race at, which will mean we don't know where they are rounds 5 and 6, and we certainly don't know round 7 and 8.
It's pretty much an incredible idea of how this whole platform is laid out, where it will really test the limits to see who knows and who, well, at every type of different tracks that we go and compete at, because every single one of these tracks provides a unique challenge that will test their limits.
Yeah, and that limit is going to be found time and time again. But let's talk Suzuka. It's one of the few figure 8 circuits that you find out there in iRacing and in the world of motorsport. And to that, its own unique characteristic. 3 different sectors testing 3 different aspects of the car.
Absolutely. The 17-turn course, 3.6 mile or 5.8 kilometer circuit, has so unique corners that will test each and every single one of their limits. I mean, think about just the elevation changes, 130 feet, and then of course you see the crossover just above the 130 and Degner corner 2 that will provide some great unique aspects of racing and high speed action throughout the entire circuit.
Now, as they look to get themselves set, we'll talk about what they have in terms of this first race, round 3 of the championship, to run themselves through, to take a look at the iconic bridge section just out of Degner 2 and over to 130R. They've only got 1 day to get themselves practiced up. They've got then 15 minutes of free practice before qualifying brings itself into play. They only get 1 lap to set within that qualifying session, so it is a hot lap qualifying. You need to be absolutely on it for it, and then a 15-minute race, all on fixed setups here, and then of course the traditional 17 drive-through 17 instant points for a drive-through penalty, 25 instant points for disqualification. I doubt we'll be seeing drivers picking that up in such a short amount of time for racing action here today, so that will certainly keep things in play. But Taylor, we got to talk prizes and what they are racing for, because it is huge.
It really is. In fact, it's been a new increased amount for the prize payout, a total of $35,000 up for grabs here. But the top championship competitors, $15,000 to the champion, an incredible prize opportunity, as well as your top 10 getting paid out. $5,000, $2,500 for your top 3, all the way to the 10th position for $450. I mean, still, either way, a top 10 in this championship would be an incredible opportunity to get that payout.
Absolutely, a $10,000 increase on what we saw just 12 months ago. And what a wonderful scrap it's going to be. So every qualifying, every race, every point is going to be at the highest precipice for all of these drivers, and they will know that through qualifying, in terms of where we are, that's about 45 seconds away from completion being found. And I will tell you something, we talk about how they qualify into this series, Taylor, the regions that they've got. This is a shake-up in qualifying.
Absolutely. The qualifying shakeup is looking extraordinary compared to what we saw the last couple of times in the previous rounds. I have to say, it's going to be quite a surprise for some drivers, but I see also a couple of hometown favorites that are going to be coming in here to showcase they have what it takes to be the dominant factor at this very circuit.
So we will talk about factors in just a moment's time. A legendary circuit with some legendary battling that has happened over the course of the season so far, but still a lot to be decided, because at the end of tonight, with this race and the race after this, we will reach halfway in the championship, and so then you can assess your grade cards on where everybody is. It is going to be, though, the number 47 on pole position. That is Alejandro Sanchez, who has got the qualifying done, and what a drive he'll be looking to try and have, as he's got Shoma Shintani alongside him at his home circuit. Aaron Vasquez will start from third, with Miguel Costa fourth position after his heroics he was trying to do over at the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Zach Rattray-White and Nicholas Rubelar make your third row.
Moving on into row number 4, we will find Dan Amore and Luke McEwen, who are some of the favorites in this championship, followed by Victor Miranda and Isaac Phelps, rounding out your top 10. Elvis Rankin, along with another Japanese driver competing here today, Kazuki Fujita, rounding out in 12th position.
Felipe Cabrera will go from 13th, with Cody Deeth alongside him, 8th in the world on iRacing for this style of racing for open formula. Henry Moore, who was your winner of the season opener, he's down in 15th, with Jordy Slater 16th. Gail Valero will have Pablo Espes for company on row 9.
Moving on, as we wrap up the top 20, it's Dino Felipe in 19th, followed by Yuki Oganagi in 20th. Felipe Dantas with Alex O'Grady in row 11, followed by Yuta Saito, and Mahida Kashua will be in the top in 12th.
Yeah. Jackson Rosenda then will have Flavio Dantas for company, as the Brazilians have 25th and 26th. Pablo Mercerat and Ralph Benitez then follow. Graham Carroll, who's a Walter Hayes Trophy winner out there in Formula 4, he is back down in 29th with Andre Castro. That is a real-world flurry there on row 15.
Absolutely. Then we have Benny Roberts with Declan Webb in row 16. Damon Woods with Martin Kadlicek in the row 17. Jaden Munoz, who we've seen quite regular competing in multiple open wheel championship. And Jaden Ladick will round out in row 18.
I'm shocked to see Kadlicek not set a lap time. All those 33rd and back have that trouble, including Xander Reed, who's up there in the championship, Augustine Bernier, and Curtis Webb. It was a 2-minute 0.6 that made the qualifying lap work, so it was going to be a long lap to try and make sure that you find yourself steady. The first curve and the second curve are going to be critical, and how late you can brake through that section. They know they've only got 15 minutes on the clock, so it'll feel like 8 laps here today max is going to be the challenge. But as we know, drivers turn up and have specialties on their circuit. So I look at someone like Shoma Shintani. He's there to rock the apple cart. Aaron Vasquez, who had nothing out there earlier on at the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, will be looking for a huge run today. And keep an eye on that 4th row. Dan Amore and Luke McEwen, 1 and 2 in the championship, will have to charge their way forward and say this is what they've got. Lights then will about to find themselves on here at Suzuka for round 3 of the FIA F4 Esports Global Championship, and they will know as the lights go out that they need to be on their A game. Great start by Alejandro Sanchez. Shintani immediately falls into line. Serpentine to try and move through the first 5 positions then, as it will be Miguel Costa and then Zach Rattray-White for Eclipse Sim Sport, holding themselves steady, nice and clean through the first drive as they run through the first and second curves and tackle the S's for the first time.
Great heads-up driving by most of our competitors as they try to give room and find their rhythm here as they climb up to the top of the S's, working their way up through Nippo Corner, heading into the first of the 2 Degners. Great heads-up, single file for most of your competitors in the top 15.
Through Nippo Corner, they come along now and heading for those 2 jutting right-handers, as it is iRacing Black Friday. It has just opened up for sales. 50% off of all new memberships, 25% off of early activations out there and renewals. But now through Degner number 2, it's a case of sit down and find what you can. Vasquez in 3rd, Costa 4th, Rattray-White in 5th, but Alejandro Sanchez has what he wants at the start. A bit of 3 wide in the middle as Felipe Cabrera finds the likes then of Cody Deeth and also Henry Moore for company. They now work through 200 right to Spoon. We've got a perfect braking marker here at Spoon, a small strip of asphalt.
Yeah, just that small strip will help get that car gripped up quite a bit. But you got to be careful with how much you go off corner exit, because there is a little bit of a timing offline zone right there in that corner if you're not careful. But so far, everyone's now going to keep their foot on the pedal, try to block that inside lane as they make the run over into the 130R. And it's going to be high stakes here, side by side for a second as they nearly make contact.
Shintani just gets lost in the shuffle, and Aaron Vasquez now looking for the race lead as they head to the Astamo chicane, the former Casio triangle, and down the hill through the last corner. It is going to be clearance for Alejandro Sanchez, but critically now, it is going to be Miguel Costa who sits in line. And look at them hug the pit wall all the way as they go through. Get in line, choo-choo, all aboard the Shinkansen as they head towards turn one, outside line for Miguel Costa. Alejandro Sanchez holds himself steady, but side by side, watch who's making progress. Nicholas Rubilar now trying to move up past Zach Rattray-White, on board with Miguel Costa here through the S's, now looking for this big left-hander here, Taylor, for the Gyakubank.
He is trying everything here, just trying to hug that curve. You see him on screen, working his way through. A little bit of debris, though, as they try to work their way up through the corner. Got to be careful with how much you get on those tires. That could definitely affect the handling, but Costa is doing everything he can. So he tries to see if he can close the gap as they clip the curve over Deckner 1 and 2.
Look at his setup. He has got 4 monitors there, including one directly over the top of him there. So he is very much immersed at this moment in his racing seat as he worked hard, the Monegasque driver, in towards the Nissan brake hairpin and out off of the exit now and heading towards the end of that second sector. The look behind then for the Grid and Go driver is his own teammate, Aaron Vasquez, 13,000 GT iRating, the highest ever iRating recorded for any single driver. He is a special talent behind him, but they're all sitting back and saying what they can do. Lap 1 dramas befalling likes of Jaden Lanich, Ralph Benitez, who had a drop, and then Xander Reed. That's going to be a big hit for his championship efforts, but look at Alejandro Sanchez trying to shake off on the West Straight.
The Coanda driver doing everything he can as they head down the straight over to the 130R. Now the two Grindigo teammates try to see if they can tag team your race leader as they head down into the chicane. So far, no one's giving an inch as they nearly make contact as the two Grindigo drivers work together now to see if they come up out of the last corner. A couple of other drivers getting a little too close for comfort of Rubilar and Amor.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Dan Amore's going to try and work his way through. He won the last race at the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. It pulled 185,000 views on Instagram as he tries to get by Nicholas Rubilar for position, trying to work it through. That's not going to work for the man from Trowbridge to go and get that move. The break, by the way, is Luke McEwen in 8th place, so he's really having to work to get to Zach Rattray-White. He's got Miranda, Phelps, Rankin all behind him, but the middle of this group right now, as they enter lap 3 through the Gyakubank and now up through Nippo Corner, they've all got to settle down and realise the way you win this race is timing.
Take a look here at the incident that happened in the replay of some of the incidents that happened at the Astamo chicanes. Couple of drivers looping it around in front of the camera and major contact. That must have been Cascio and O'Grady, and I think it looks like Graham Carroll also got caught up in the incident as well. He is still on pit road trying to fix his car at the moment.
A massive incident then at the back, and that will take a slew of drivers away from points. Top 15 only scored, so at the moment it is Felipe Cabrera who is holding that ahead of Geordie Slater for position. So that will be worth talking about, that even the small points are worth a little scrap for out there. But Rubilar picking up a good run here on Shoma Shintani in the Williams Academy colours. They're in 4th position, so you're starting to sense that drivers are doing what they can. Alejandro Sanchez, your leader from the capital of Spain, Madrid, but he's not going to be there for long, because around the outside again is going to try Aaron Vasquez, and the Grid and Go cars will go either side trying to make this move. Sanchez commands the inside, and Alejandro Sanchez holds himself steady, just leaving enough room. Oh, on the thinnest tightrope, he takes the lead.
Vasquez does an incredible job of holding on and getting the race lead away from Sanchez. We know time and time again with Alejandro Sanchez, one of the most dominant open-wheel competitors on the iRacing platform, does not give an inch, and he will now go back on the attack to try to get around for the race lead as they come out of the first curve.
You got to feel that there is every emphasis right now for Alejandro Sanchez to keep Miguel Costa away. Costa's role is going to be as much of an annoying nuisance as he possibly can. Give Aaron Vasquez every chance to run away. Shintani watches Amor, Rubilar, Rattray White. The two groups have coalesced together, which means right now, if you want to be technical about this one, Taylor, we have a 20-car battle for the race lead.
We certainly do. That's what makes these Formula 4 cars so incredible, because of how much it's more about just how the car and driver are together. It's not really about the setup. It's all the same setup. It's really just how well you drive as we go on board with Dan Amor, who is trying to find his way in a shot of a podium position. One small mistake could send you back 15 or more positions if you are not careful. And Dan Amor is looking to try to capitalize on a mistake by some of our top four ahead as they head down into Spoon.
This is one of the most known quantities out there in sim racing, Suzuka. It is one that is a bucket list track for many sim racers. There's your championship on the right-hand side. Dan Amor would tie the championship lead right now with Alejandro Sanchez on tiebreaker of victories. Dan Amor would be ahead in the championship if you want to go about it, but Sanchez wants to make that switch side by side again at 130R. But now will there be a bump from Miguel Costa to help Aaron Vasquez, make that play? Sanchez commands the Aston Martin chicane this time. 7 minutes left on the clock, and so now you're trying to get into position. Dan Amor is the interesting scenario then, as you've also got the likes of Declan Webb now down in the pits. Mehdi Kusha has also joined, and they are just trying to shake up and push. This is like pack racing.
It is like pack racing indeed. You normally don't see this kind of blocking really in other forms of motorsport, but you do see it in racing here with these Formula 4 cars and in karting because of them trying to break the draft. But here comes Vasquez back onto the bottom, but now has to transfer to the top side as they make their way through. And so far it is going to be who's who, and Sanchez regain control of the race lead.
And Shintani losing the place to Dan Amor, and down the inside of Nicholas Rubilar. Luke McEwen finds the freight train, and Rubilar gets a big wiggle as well, so that will give Zach Rattray White a place back then. So he'll jump back up for Eclipse Sim Sport now into 7th place, and much needed. Rubilar, one small mistake. Look at how much effort he's having to put into that steering wheel, the amount of force feedback.
He is really trying to hold on to it for dear life here. These Formula 4 cars are so very finicky. You have to be careful with how much you input on these cars. They're not like their bigger cousins like an F3, F2, or even the Formula 1 car. These are very dicey cars, even with the little bit of aero that they help to get through these corners. One bad mistake could cost you, and you really have to be up on the wheel to get around these corners.
The champion of Quilpé in Chile is looking to try and do what he can to jump up the order. He knows how tough of a day this is, and it's all about shaking off every driver that you can. This west straight climb up the hill every time has been about who goes through. Little shake of the head there by Rubilar as he sees all contact there between the leading duo as they went through 130R. So Alejandro Sanchez trying to do what he can. Grid and Go and Coanda now find themselves together, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. This is the team game in full display right now. Dan Amor cuts himself through on Miguel Costa and now moves up to 3rd. And now will he decide to go and get a sling on everyone here right now? 3 laps to go here around Suzuka, and everybody is pushing right now. Give yourself a friend as they run towards turns 1 and 2. It's Sanchez on the outside, Vasquez on the in, and it's going to be Vasquez who commands through turn 2, the second corner.
How about Rubilar? You just saw there on the screen right here. Try to pick up a 2 for 1.
Oh, he's off!
He'll go off, though, as he comes off the corner.
Just like that, he'll drop the time. Phelps will go through. Cody Deeth will now jump through, as well as the groups now split into two. Oh my word. And now Rubelar will now find just the minor points, 3 or 4 only he'll pick up in his mind, and he'll know now that it is a busy game at the front of this field, and he's hoping for Carnage to get back side by side at the back of that group, it looked like there, for maybe Isaac Phelps, but he couldn't quite find a lane.
He tried his best there, and now he's got more work to do as he has dropped back significantly as we now make our way to the Nissan hairpin. And so far, no one's going to give an inch here. A couple of drivers like Luke McEwen making slight contact with Miranda as they try to negotiate out of there, working their way through over to the 200R and then into Spoon. You're on board with Aaron Vasquez, your race leader, grit and go, trying to hold off the hard charger of Coanda, of Sanchez, as they come out of the Spoon corner. No one now giving an inch. This is where we see a lot of the action happen on the West Straight before they head to 130R. Sanchez goes back to the outside as he tries to find his opening, as his teammate of Acosta now will give a little bit of a push to make sure he stays ahead as they head out into 130R.
Dana Moore's not giving as much help as he needs to at the moment, and Alejandro Sanchez knows it here. He's got to try and command what he can, and then he's a little bit wide through the middle of the corner, so that's going to open up the steering and take the lines away from those who need it. Vasquez, the sort of driver who drives with his heart on his sleeve. He is one of the most animated characters behind the wheel, and now I wonder what you do if you're Shintani, or if you're even the likes of, say, out there, Zach Rattray White. What do you do in this situation, 5th or 6th? How do you disrupt the team game?
Best thing I can think of is try and pick the group that you think is going to go with here as we watch them work their way through. And as we do have some problem for one driver, Elvis Rankin, who is working his way up into the top 15. Contact right there into the hairpin and collect several other competitors. That's not going to be what Elvis Rankin needed in this race.
No, especially for a driver who is a Skip Barber champion, lest we not forget, of course, in the real world, Elvis Rankin. So here is a driver who would love to have jumped up, got his start going through sim racing to get into that seat. So that is going to really hurt him and his aspirations for this championship. Now up the hill once again, hitting the brakes for the Nissan brake hairpin, side by side, 5th and 6th there, as Shoma Shintani tries to get back one on Zach Rattray White. Anytime you make a move like that, Taylor, you're starting to think, am I going to lose contact with the draft? And it might only be 0.4 of a second, but that might as well feel like 4 seconds in this race.
It really does. I mean, the draft is so strong around this circuit that you can lose time quickly if you're not back up on the wheel and on the pedal quickly to maintain that gap, because one small step that could, like you said, drop you back to 4 seconds as we're on board with Victor Miranda from Sao Paulo, Brazil, as he tries to find his way. We know Brazil is home to some of the biggest names in motor racing, and they show dominance at this track, and he's wanting to continue that trend as they're nearly going to go 3 wide heading into the chicane. So far, almost making contact as they hop the curves.
And they just have to hop over, and Alejandro Sanchez gets the clearance that he wants. Everybody into the faster train, because it is going to be Aaron Vasquez who gets blocked out. Miguel Costa tries to come over, give a little bit of help, but now as this last lap starts, it's all on. Zach Rattray White wants to push these drivers as well, so Alejandro Sanchez and Miguel Costa go at it. Dana Moore sits there in 3rd. Is it roles reversal from 2 weeks ago as they fight for a little bit of space? There's no room for Dana Moore, and so now it's Aaron Vasquez going for the podium. Just a millimetre between them, and Moore gets shoved out. And there goes Rattray White down the inside now. He jumps up into P4 through the Gyakubak, and coming out through Nippo now, Alejandro Sanchez will know he's got the Monegas driver behind him. And Miguel Costa, Aaron Vasquez now, who has been trying to play bully at the front of the field, now is going to have to play protector at this moment in time through the second of 2 Degner corners. They're now going to start running themselves up the hill over towards the Nissan brake hairpin and know what they can do. Drivers like Luke McEwen trying to go for moves on Isaac Phelps back in the pack, but it's all about placement now and who has tempered their run. Normally we talk about 3rd is the best place to be on a draft race to the line. It's such a short line here though at Suzuka. You want to battle into the Astamo chicane, only Spoon to conquer, and no teammate in sight for Alejandro Sanchez. Costa and Sanchez and Vasquez now have to figure figure out, is it for a team or is it for individuals, and who gets what as they come out of Spoon. It's a decent run by Sanchez, but I wouldn't call it perfect by any stretch of the imagination. He's trying to shake off Miguel Costa. Costa's having none of it. Outside of 130R on the final lap. 2 tyres in the grass. Miguel, wow, where are you going to go, buddy? Nowhere's the answer. Sanchez is going to get a run. Rattray White wants to look in as well. Alejandro Sanchez with a car as wide as you can have it. Taps himself through the corner. He survives it. Oh my goodness. Alejandro Sanchez, legendary. 3 wide for 3rd behind as they'll push for the line. Alejandro takes a worldie. Rattray White, the last on the podium.
What an incredible drive indeed by Alejandro Sanchez to be the dominant factor, hold off the hard chargers from Grid and Go, and make it Coanda at the top here. That is why he is one of the best of the best. Take a look at the results.
What a win for Alejandro Sanchez, 0.3 of a second, and he had to get the elbows out against everybody there. Vasquez, Rattray White, 2nd and 3rd, Miguel Costa 4th, and Dan Amor in P5. A 3-way drag race to the line. Shoma Shintani and Victor Miranda, 6th and 7th, and get this, 8 cars within a second over the line. Absolutely magical. Luke McEwen, that driver, the reigning champ, in 8th, 9th and 10th. There belonging to Nicholas Rubelar and Isaac Phelps.
A couple of other big notable features. Yuki Okanagi, who finishes in 13th for Japan as well. Jordy Slater just outside the top 15 with Henry Moore finishing in 20th. Tough break for him. Has a lot of work to do as we head to our next track here. Hopefully he can recover, as Elvis Rankin also struggling in 21st.
Yeah, Augustin Bernier made good progress, but not enough to get to points. Martin Kadlacik mired back with his starting position. 2 laps down, Jaden Munoz, Jackson Rosenda. A lot of drivers. Yuta Saito, the former iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series driver, in troubles. And look at the list of names that got caught out behind and couldn't find a finish. Graham Carroll, Andre Castro, Zander Reed, you can put in that list as well. Those were drivers who absolutely needed to find results, and they were trying to do everything they can to put it together. So, wow, what a race we have had, and what brilliant battling there is. That's how the points look coming out of it, Taylor. Alejandro Sanchez ahead by 5.
That just shows you how critical every position will be, because like we touched on, Elvis Rankin dropping down significantly as we see all the action here. Rattray moving up significantly with his finish as well, moving into the top 10.
Taylor Burris has taken the walk down the virtual paddock. He is going to be stood by with your race winner there from round 3 of the FIA F4 Esports Global Championship. He is going to be stood by with Alejandro Sanchez.
Alejandro, I mean, you were absolutely bullied out there competing in this race. Really had no help whatsoever. How were you able to hold off the hard charges from Grid and Go to come up with this win?
Yeah, just try to make the car as wide as possible and try to fight hard, but at the same time clean. I saw that Aaron was giving like a lot of space and stuff, so props to him. Quite a nice and clean battle. I was very lucky in the last corner because our cars got hooked together and it made my car make the corner, where sometimes it just makes it instantly spin. So happy for that. Like happy with the race, happy with quali, and yeah, just looking forward to the next one. Hopefully with some more friendly people around me. But yeah, that was nice, and yeah, at the end of the day they were quite fair, so quite happy about that. And yeah, that's what we're here for, you know, like competing against each other and treating each other as you want to be treated. But yeah, quite happy with that.
Absolutely. Well, Alejandro, we got to touch on this. I mean, you compete in some of the biggest championships in the open wheel category, whether it be in Formula 4, the Dallara IR01, or even also the IndyCar. What makes this car so unique? I mean, it's basically a who's who of how well you can manage the car, you against 39 other competitors.
Yeah, it's very close in qualifying, especially during the race. There's a lot of draft, so that makes for like insanely close racing, which is frustrating at times when you know you have the pace and you know like the guy behind can just keep up because of the draft. But at the same time, makes for really, really interesting races. I hope for the spectators. They are quite intense as a driver, to be honest. But yeah, like you learn to understand things that aren't in your control at the end of the day, and it's quite different from, you know, faster open wheelers where you have dirtier to worry about and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a beginner's car, but not really beginner's racing, to be fair.
Absolutely. Well, we get ready for the next track here. How confident do you feel going into the second race at the Red Bull Ring?
Oh, it's all about quality. The car feels a bit understeery, but I guess we'll just try to underdrive it a bit in quali and just try to extract the maximum from it. Obviously, the race is going to be every bit as intense as this one, because this track has a lot of straights at the end of the day. But yeah, looking forward to it and looking forward to what the night brings.
Well, Alejandro, good luck to you at the next event. We'll see if you continue to make that car as wide as possible at the Red Bull Ring.
Thank you very much.
What a wonderful bit of racing there for Alejandro Sanchez. Second in that race was Aaron Vazquez, who's here with us right now. Now, Aaron, you know, you were trying to command that at the front between both you and Miguel Costa, but with a lap to go, you got shuffled out back to about fourth, almost nearly fifth in the queue. How did you find your way to get back up for that second place in critical points?
Yeah, actually, it was like really difficult the last lap, basically because I got like a little bit bad exit in the last corner. So I was thinking like I couldn't fight for the win probably because I was like in the OSA with no help of no one of the laps. So I was thinking I would lose a lot of position in that straight. But at the end, Miguel going for the overtake and he gave me a little bit draft at the end of the straight, so I could maintain the OSA a little bit with Dan. And then I got like side by side with him. So I could like make the P3 after the first sector, and then I tried to like work with Miguel a little bit to try to pass Alejandro Sanchez in the last lap. But I don't know what happened actually in the last straight. I think like Alex like closed a little bit more than what I expect, and I should go like maybe to the inside. But yeah, like a lot of things to think in like a little bit time. So it was like really intense. I don't have words. So actually it was a really good one, and I'm really happy with the P2 after coming from like DNF in Road Atlanta. So yeah, I'm really happy.
So Road Atlanta put you really on the back foot, didn't get the result that you wanted. Do you feel that, especially with the Red Bull Ring coming up next at round 4, that you have to be on your A game now at every race?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like Road Atlanta was like one of my tracks. Like I could do a really good result, and like I like missed the quali, and I got like no quali. So Red Bull Ring will be really important, to be honest, because it's like a really easy track for everyone, and probably with a lot of rats. So it will be really like big battles. So we need to be sure that we get like the maximum point possible without get another DNF and continue the championship like that, because with no drop ramps is really difficult, so we need to be sure that at least get points in the races and try to don't get like a DNF with 0 points.
You were top 3 in the championship last year. You earned your ticket back through the way that you drove. I just want to touch upon the caliber of field you had in 24 compared to the caliber of field you have today. How do you balance those two? Do you think it's tougher this season?
Yeah, it's really difficult to say, like, in the both years, they were, like, super high level. I cannot say what is the maximum level of the both years, I will say, but actually the level is going higher and higher, so I will say every year will be go. So I think this year is a little bit more higher, I will say, and really competitive. So yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but I think we have the pace and we are doing really good job every round. So I think we can like stay where like we were in the last year, basically.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck when round 4 comes around in just a few minutes' time. Aaron Vazquez joining us there with a second place finish overall. And so now it's all about the driver who finishes off in 3rd place overall, who is next. Taylor Burris has caught up with Zach Rattray-White.
Zach, I gotta say, with what you were able to do on that final lap was something I'd like to see. You were waiting for the opportune time for the two teams to kind of lose touch with each other and sneak your way right in and take home a top 3 finish. Walk us through that final lap.
Yeah, I didn't want to get caught up in their mess, so I was kind of just sitting back and waiting for them to have a little bit of contact, and maybe I could grab a few positions, but every single time I sat back and waited for something to happen, I got past. So had to kind of get my elbows out a little bit and try and make something happen. But yeah, I'm glad it came off the way it did.
Talk to us a little bit about the balance of being patient yet aggressive. I mean, you were someone who was in and amongst that top 7 all race long. You tried to stick your nose in a couple of times, realized it was either too late early to make that run or too late because the door got shut on you. You were really patient with that, which was incredible. Explain to our viewers the importance and keeping that mindset of knowing when and when to fire off.
Yeah, well, race preservation is super important, obviously, but it's quite hard racing against these people who are all over the world, and I obviously live in Australia at the minute, so it's quite difficult with our ping and our internet at the moment, because yeah, even if you're miles away from each other, you can just get sent off into the abyss. So yeah, just trying to keep my nose clean and try and hopefully not spin someone else off in the process.
Absolutely. Well, we head off to the Red Bull Ring. Another opportunity for you to try to get yourself back into the top 3 or go to the win. What do you think is your game plan going into this event?
I was much more confident at Suzuka, so just try and get a clean lap in. Hopefully I don't off-track it, just try and execute that first, and then yeah, just take it step by step, and hopefully you can turn some decent points over in the race.
Well, we wish you the best of luck there, Zach, and look forward to seeing what you can accomplish at the Red Bull Ring.
Sweet, thank you.
Well, we've had some brilliant racing here as they have set themselves up and said, look, we've got to be on our absolute A game out there. But Taylor, as they sit, how critical is this next race going to be for all of these drivers?
I mean, if you think about it, we're going into another high-speed circuit that will require a lot of drafting capabilities, a lot of close-knit corners, a lot of hard braking zones. So it's going to be very critical for these drivers to showcase a little bit of patience, but also show that aggression to make sure that they can either find their way to position or make sure they maintain their position.
Let's take a look at that race 1 and just how brilliant it was. The 3rd round of the championship here from Suzuka. And it was absolutely lightning fast, Taylor. Each and every race, each and every run was simply put on another stratosphere in terms of how they were looking to try and pick up that move. It was simply wonderful in terms of what they were looking at. Look, every single lap, there was a battle going on at that chicane.
It really was, and even some chaos that happened here, especially in the early stages. But the two things to keep in mind, Grid and Go Esports and Coanda, that was the storyline going into this race. These two dominant teams going head-to-head. And one thing I've noticed is how well Grid and Go worked well together to try and take the fight to Coanda. We saw some drivers struggling, making slight contact that caused spots here.
It's absolutely wonderful. We got round 4 on the other side of this. Stay with us with the FIA F4 Esports Global Championship.
Sometimes you got to get back to your roots. Remember where it all started.
Is it all a fever dream?
NASCAR Thunder 2000.
Our goal was simple. Make it authentic. The stories.
There's a fight using lessons learned from his father.
The fans. The rivalries.
Harvick got into the side of the tree.
That feeling of being part of it all. That's why we went to work on this game. We've heard you. It's been a long time since we've had a game that captures what the sport is all about. Well, time is now. This one's built for the fan, for anybody who wants to experience what it's really like. All right, let's go. From the sound to the speed to the venue.
Daytona International Speedway.
Back at Darlington Raceway.
All that's left to do is fire it up.
If you thought the last race of the FIA F4 Esports Global Championship presented by Moser Racing was one which had the dial cranked up to 11 like it was a Black Friday deal rush, well, turn this to 1100. This is the Red Bull Ring. Absolutely one of the great drafting circuits, time and time again. Spielberg will prove again to be one of the most critical runs. Jake Sperry and Taylor Burris bringing you through all of the action. And Taylor, it was absolutely frantic at Suzuka, but you take them here to a circuit where every straight is an overtaking opportunity. This is going to be something out of a storybook, out of fiction.
Absolutely. This track here is going to provide some great opportunities for racers who maybe didn't have that best start in the first race, but able to negotiate, utilize the draft, utilize the slipstream, and slingshot past their competitors could be a critical way to gain as much points as possible or end up on the pit road where you do not want to be and where we saw several of our championship competitors end up in race number one.
It's a day where you look at and you think drivers can have great races. Drivers can also find themselves with some tough races on the horizon. So they'll be looking around. They've got to balance the good and the bad, and they've got to make the most of it. But in terms of making the most of it, well, let's just talk about our schedule and how much these drivers have to make the most of it with no drop rounds available, only 24 hours worth of notice on these circuits. This Red Bull Ring marks halfway, and every race so far, Taylor, it's a pressure cooker.
It really is. I mean, looking at just these 4 tracks alone that we've had already just showcases the difference and difficulties that each track will provide for every single one of our competitors here. That only makes you think, what will be the next 4 races that will be revealed as we get closer and closer to the end of this championship season? And it's going to be one for the ages here, and it all starts now here at the Red Bull Ring.
It does. And now let's talk about this rampaging bull of a circuit that has been originally the Österreich ring. It also fell into disrepair, got bought by Red Bull, became this incredible circuit's worth of racing. But yet it's an old school throwback, Taylor. It's one of these short circuits. It doesn't take long in terms of time, but what it does bring is high speeds.
High-speed track here. Look at the elevation changes. Just over 2,000 feet of elevation changes that these drivers will have to negotiate, especially on at a turn 1 of the Niki Lauda corner, and then all the way up towards turn 3, where we will see some chaos and some extreme passing happening here. We saw not too long ago, in fact, in other Formula races, where we saw chaos ensue in the real world, where it is known to happen at this circuit.
This is one of those courses where every straight isn't truly straight, so you're never truly getting the chance to rest. But as far as they look, they know that with the format that they have available to them, this is a day where they will look around and say, right, I need to be at my A game. You've had 24 hours to practice 2 different tracks, and the question will be, Taylor, which drivers have practiced this one more and which ones have practiced this one less?
That is the question, and we're going to find out here. But I would have to say, if I were to get a track reveal one day prior, I would be spending at least more about splitting it 50-50 here, because it's critical to try to get as much points as you can possible here in a 15-minute race.
And let's talk about those points, because the championship's going to be critical with every round. It is an ever-changing role. And so you look around, Dana Moore and Luke McEwen, 5 and 11 points. Miguel Costa fights back to get to 12 points adrift with Aaron Vasquez. Henry Moore and Martin Kadlecic really dropped the ball. The consistency of Isaac Phelps, though, I think has been very understated at the start of this season.
I have to agree with you as well. He has been able to make up some significant ground in the championship, including Zach Rattray White, who we talked in the race number 3, where we saw him get a podium at Suzuka. Alex O'Grady rounding out your top 10. But here's where some of the drivers who are struggling need to try to capitalize. Xander Reed and Elvis Rankin did not get a finish in this previous race. They have work to do. Andre Castro as well has work to do to try and recover at this track as well.
And they know that they'll only have the qualifying to go and set themselves up and say this is what they are capable and critical. And we look at those times at the moment, and he seems to be a round 2 merchant of the night. Martin Kadlecic took the pole at the Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. He's on course for it at the moment.
Significant margin, and look at Costa and Elvis Rankin and Xander Reed all right there in the top 4 as well. And looking for our competitors as well. Sanchez not showing right now inside the top 10, so he's currently quite a ways back in the running in this qualifying session. Has quite a bit of work to do. We still are waiting on about a half a dozen competitors who will need to qualify.
Well, I've just had a little look through qualifying, and I think Dana Moore has invalidated his lap time, and that's going to be a huge drop for him in terms of his championship effort if he's not put a lap time down on the board. It is a bit of a shake-up, because those who are looking to be up at the very pointy end, they have to be consistent at 2 races, not just 1. And so when you're looking around at Alejandro Sanchez, I've got him down at P18.
Not a good look indeed. He's got to be critical on that qualifying and in the start of the race. He's got to get as much position gain on that opening lap if he is to maintain his run in the championship. Not the best way to kick off race number 4 for him.
Well, if you imagine that Christmas is on the horizon, well, just before that is the biggest iRacing sale of the year through to December 2nd. If you want to get your significant other something, it's 25% off renewals. It's 50% off of new memberships. Jump in. The iRacing Black Friday sale is there for you. And it's just like the racing that we've got, Taylor. It's like a snow globe. You shake it up, it's different every single race.
Absolutely, especially if you want to get a new membership here. If this is your first time seeing what iRacing is all about, this car, the FIA Formula 4 car, is actually included in your purchase with the free iRacing subscription. So you get your chance to try on several unique tracks with this car, and who knows, maybe down the road, if you feel comfortable, get the chance next year to come out and compete with some of the best in this Formula 4 car.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity to qualify yourself through the iRacing regional tours, the 3 races, or the 3 championships, top 10 in your region, and you book your ticket through season 3's worth of iRacing racing. So that will be from the summer into the autumn, and then we race, of course, in the autumn towards the winter of December to make the championship. And then, of course, if you are here and you are racing, top 3 in your region in this championship, you get your place back.
Not a bad deal, I have to say. So a lot of drivers really are working as hard as they can to make sure they work their way through into returning next season.
Yeah, and if you want more information about this series and how you can become a driver, you can log on to iRacing.com/FIA-F4-Esports. You can catch all of what the championship standings look like. You can catch up 24 hours before the races. What racetracks are we going to be running at? So all that information can come to you if you go and follow and learn a little bit more about the FIA F4 Esports Global Championship presented by Motor Racing. So, as we set ourselves up and know that this is going to be as tough can get, the last few drivers are now looking at this and saying, yeah, it's a 1-lap qualifying. It gives you certain senses. But there are some drivers who are out there who are doing 3, 4, 5 laps. Know that they don't count, Taylor, but it's extra practice in the back pocket. I'm looking at drivers like Yuta Saito out there, who is just running lap after lap after lap, trying to get anything more to say that his car's going to do something.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, for these sessions, they only get 15 minutes of practice, not counting the practice they got by themselves yesterday prior to this event. So as many laps as you could run, even though they won't count towards your qualifying, I would be running out there continuously till that timer has expired, which is about an 8-minute qualifying session, even though it's only 1 lap that gets counted, which is the only lap you start on that opening green flag run. So critical here, and great opportunity to just find that little extra to get yourself ready for the race that happens here.
It's a tough turn 1 up here, Taylor, because you've got that run into the Niki Lauda curve. It's basically arm code off on the inside. There is a massive anti-cut curve on the outside all the way back. And again, it is your iRacing Black Friday sale, and it is going all the way through December 2nd. It's your month of Black Friday running here with iRacing, so that will be fantastic. You're 50% off new memberships, you're 25% off of early renewals and reactivations. And on top of that, I just want to ring a little bell in the back of people's minds who think that this is a little bit too tough for them to get into. iRacing Arcade's going to be coming along.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about one of the most exciting new arcade games that iRacing Studios has brought to us, and it's pretty cool. And in fact, you can even run several different cars and track combinations that we saw here. You saw the commercial, and how about this? Take a look at some of the unique tracks and cars. I mean, the Porsche 963 GTP, which is a phenomenal little car running right now around one of our newest tracks we saw. TCR cars at Lime Rock, fun cars, the Porsches, Cup cars as well, and of course several other unique circuits here, and it's all for fun. Make sure to go check it out. Comes out on Steam, early access on consoles in 2026, December 2nd, for those who are ready to try it out on the Steam.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful for those who want their first taste in, but qualifying has found itself all sorted, so we can run ourselves through the starting grid for racing action here today around the Red Bull Ring, and it will be the number 31 car who has gone and got the result that has been absolutely wanted. As we take a look at this grid right now, Martin Kadlachik in control with Miguel Costa alongside the company. He's having a great afternoon/evening of racing. Then it's the Americans, Elvis Rankin and Xander Reed, both looking for redemption. Isaac Phelps starts 5th with Aaron Vasquez. They're in 6th.
Former series champion Luke McEwen will be sitting in 7th position, followed by Mahede Kosha, looking to try to recover from last time out at Suzuka. Jordy Slater and Cody Deep round out your top 10. Alex O'Grady and Henry Moore in row 6.
On the 7th row, you'll have Ralph Benitez and Shoma Shintani a little bit further back there in 14th with Pablo Espez and Jackson Rosenda. Jaden Ladich will go from 17th, and there's a big shock. Alejandro Sanchez in 18th. He's got work to do.
He certainly does. Flavio Dantas and Damon Wood round out your top 20. Graham Carroll struggling in race 3, looking to recover, has work to do in row 11 with Felipe Cabrera in that position. Felipe Dantas and Dino Felipa will round out in row 12.
Over in 25th, it's Augustine Bernier and Jaden Munoz will be 26th, with Yuki Okanogi and Yuta Saito, an all-Japanese 14th row of the grid. Declan Webb will be 29th, and the last time set was Pablo Mercera in 30th position.
Moving on, we'll find Nicholas Rubelar and Dana Moore. Surprising they didn't set qualifying times here, so interesting to how that'll play out. But I think for Dana Moore, he had an off track, which caused him to not count for qualifying. Gail Valero and Victor Miranda in row 17. Benny Roberts and Zach Rattray White has quite a bit of work to do.
And so too does Curtis Webb, Kazuki Fujita and Andre Castro, who will have to go from the very back of the field to go and make this work. Remember, it's 15 out there that score. So if you're down in P39, it's a light year, basically, to try and get back. You're going to need some help, and this might be one of the few circuits where you find it. Bit of overcast conditions now that are starting to move over the mountains here in the Styrian region, and so these drivers will be looking around and saying a bit of coolness to go and get started. I'm going to need to settle down and find my placement as quickly as possible. This might be a redemption run for some. I look at Vasquez and McEwen 6th and 7th. They're going to need to keep their noses clean, and Miguel Costa here this week might have just made a play to say, I could be championship material if this all goes the way I expect it in the number 15. They'll have 15 minutes worth of time on the clock once again, but now with everybody set and ready, it's time to get yourself locked in and loaded. Let's get ourselves going then here for racing action in round 4 of the FIA for Esports Global Championship, and they are off, and Martin Kadlacik bogs down slightly off of this start, but it's going to be just enough clearance. They all get the getaway that they want up to the Nicky Lauda curve. Turn number 1 out here on circuit, and onto the exit. It's clean from everyone as they work themselves through, and critically now it's Elvis Rankin looking to challenge Miguel Costa as they work to 2-3 wide in the middle as they head themselves through the Munster corner towards turn 3.
As they climb up to the top of the hill in turn 3. How about Rankin trying to go around the outside with help from Xander Reed, as one couple of cars go way wide off turn 3 as they head down another long stretch over towards turn number 4. And so far, no one giving an inch. A little bit of breathing room, though, as your top 3 try to pull away.
Your top 5, if you want to go there, your iRacing Black Friday sale on still, remember, with the 50 and 25% off as required. But for the moment, it's McEwen and Vasquez there in the back who are really having to scrap here. And if they keep going like this and they work hard in towards turn 6 out on circuit heading to 7, Vasquez gets the clearance, but look at what it's cost them.
It has cost them significantly to where we now have that 5-car breakaway that you touched on, Jake. Drivers now have to be careful. And notice this, it is Grid and Go who are leading up at the, or Grid and Go right there in the mix with Kadlacik leading the charge. Then you have the 2 Coanda drivers of Rankin and Reed. Now the question is going to be, can Rankin and Reed work together to try and work their way through the field?
Troubles then on the opening lap for a number. This is down then into Rauch corner, and you can see just trying to tiptoe in. There's a little bit of overlap, and bang, there's the hit that takes 2 out of contention. No more than that. A little bit of tangles then as they tried to go around, but that is how quickly you can run up into troubles, because that is such a heavy braking zone down the hill into turn 4. It tests you. You've got a late braking zone here into turn 3, where then you've got to have the early braking zone because you're coming back down the hill into turn 4.
You really are having a lot of work to do here, as there you see Costa trying to work with Kadlacik to push him further as they work their way to Rauch corner, this time by Rankin, just being patient, not pushing the envelope. Still quite a bit of racing left to go that could open the door for him to try and capitalize on anything that happens with your top 2.
Oh, Alejandro Sanchez is in trouble. Sorry, I've just caught it. Sanchez is missing his front wing. He's tangled with Jackson Rosenda out there, so he's dropping like a stone at the moment, as is another handful of drivers.
All I can say is it's a good thing that he did take home the checkered flag, and that Dana Moore is struggling right now as well. He's in 17th, so not a good run for your top 2 in the championship.
No, it really isn't. It's been a lot of trouble over this second lap. Felipe Cabrera Loyola, another one who has fallen foul. He's come together with the likes of Graham Carroll, for example. But the front, it's squeaky clean up here. They've got no issues at all out there at the front, so they've got no panic at all out there at the moment. We'll take a look. This is Alejandro Sanchez, and what happened down the hill. Car in front locks up Resenda, and they all funnels to the outside curb at route corner. That's why he's got nowhere to go.
That is a tough break for Sanchez there, and with the no nose cone right there, he is going to have to come down pit road, and that will be day done for Sanchez.
It's tough. Here comes the move. Down the inside goes Elvis Rankin, trying to upset the apple cart then of the likes of Miguel Costa, but they're going to fight for toe here at the moment. Here's a look with the WSR Esports driver, Martin Kadlacik, the Czech, is now looking to try and get himself a cashed-in victory here today as he sees 2x2 down the hill behind him. A tag there of a hit check for those, and now it's 3 wide off the exit. There is no room at the in behind them. Xander Reed trying to thread the needle of both the grid and go cars of Isaac Phelps and of Miguel Costa. Costa's got the inside for the next corner as well, of Gratz corner, and they tangle tyres trying to work themselves through back again.
They were so close for contact as Reed goes off the track. He will make contact, and around goes Costa as he ends up in the gravel trap. Day done for Costa, another one of your championship favorites.
And he will kick himself on that because he was trying to play bully there, and there was just no lift, no yield, and he finds himself on the wrong end of that. So points critical. Dana Moore, by example, I want to point this out, has moved up into the points. And look at this for scrapping now. Xander Reed trying to get some elbows out on Isaac Phelps. Aaron Vasquez now up into third position with Luke McEwen now P6. So it is all about hold yourself steady because the gap has opened for the front two, and that is not what this group needs. They need to work together now with 10 minutes to go.
They certainly do, but the problem is, will they? You have two grid and go drivers who really just had their teammate get bullied out of the way by the Coanda driver of Xander Reed. So now they have to try to negotiate to get around. And don't forget about your former champion, Luke McEwen, right there in the hunt as well. He's going to try to pick them off one by one. It's down to the inside, and they go into route corner. And McEwen tries to get to the inside of Reed. Did not work out for him, but Phelps and Vasquez now have clear shot for your second and first place drivers of Rankin and Kadlacik.
We talk about a rubber band, 1 second to 1.5. The rubber band snaps and you lose the slipstream. Cody Deeth had an off as well, so he's dropped down a number of places. He was inside your top 10. I look around, Mehdi Kusha having a great day today. He's up now in 7th. And Alex O'Grady, this is a good recovery for him in 8th. And Henry Moore, your winner of round 1, he's P9. So he's looking to try and get a few points on the board too. Here's the look then out of Jochen into turn 10. So easy to extend. This is one of the few circuits out there, Taylor, that is rough on instant limits, on track limit.
It really is, especially out of Jochen corner. In fact, a couple of drivers are getting big-time penalties out there. Rubilar received a penalty. As we take a look at the point standing, Sanchez has dropped significantly after that incident. Luke McEwen has now moved up significantly in the standing. Top 4 separated by 4 points.
Top 5 by 7, that's a close-knit championship. Look at them as they go. The 71 of Vasquez, the 31 who is up there of Kadlacik now would be second, and then a point behind that, Luke McEwen, a point behind that, Alejandro Sanchez, and then Dana Moore, who will need to try and climb as many places as he can. Side by side as Luke McEwen looks to try and jump up and get Xander Reed's number, and Reed gets pushed slightly wide, and Luke McEwen, ruthless as champion, takes another place.
Keep an eye on Elvis Rankin. He has made some significant gains on Kadlacik here. It was at half a second. Now it's down to about a quarter of a second here amongst them, and they are really starting to get the elbows out amongst them as everyone else behind them are kind of just battling amongst themselves, not really focusing on. It kind of reminds me of karting in certain aspects where your top 2 find a way to get away while everyone else kind of forgets, hey, we got to go chase down these leaders, but focus on battling amongst themselves.
Well, Aaron Vasquez is the one being tasked with chasing this down. Isaac Phelps has got to stay with him. And then the group behind, McEwen, Reed. You've got Mehdi Kusha in there. Alex O'Grady in 8th position. And then Henry Moore's trying to hold on. Geordie Slater having a great race at the moment in 10th place. He'll take those points out there at the moment. And he'll be thinking, right, what can I do? Over halfway. And so I think if you're clever about this, just do not fight at the front of this field. You will drop so much time. And Rankin actually lifted out there into turn number 3. Didn't look to go for the inside on Martin Kadlec because he knows he doesn't want any more names in the party, but Vasquez is closing that gap in. It's now 7/10.
If I was Rankin, I would be just trying to work with Kadlec and push Kadlec. Do not worry about making a pass till the final lap if necessary, because as you know, these drivers get to battling. That will bring everybody else in and compress that rubber band that we talk about here, racing with these Formula 4 cars. And this could now make it a 3-horse race. You're on board with Geordie Slater, who has made some significant ground into this race in the top 10. Got a little bit of work to do to try to catch up to the driver of Moore up ahead of him.
The man from Brisbane out there in Australia and over on the Gold Coast will be looking around and saying, right, this is where I've got to try and hold my nerve, get as much as you can out there. And it is really tough for him at the moment with what time he has to be out there and racing. I think he's got himself the early dawn there behind him, as you can see from the curtain.
Good morning to you out there in Brisbane as they work their way across the line, heading up to the Niki Lauda corner of turn 1. And Rankin still just holding pace, but here comes Vasquez. He has dug deep and has set fast time after fast time. In fact, last time by, he was 0.3 of a second faster than your top 2.
And if he was those 0.3 of a second quicker, he will get an even better tow this lap to pull right up behind Elvis Rankin and give Martin Kadlec a little bit of what for and a bit of concern out there. They've pulled the gap to 1.2 over Isaac Phelps, and there's a cheeky wiggle there by Elvis Rankin just to say, I could go and make that move. I could dive down the inside. Any distraction tactics get that move. Rule 1 of sim racing, get wide in the mirrors.
Absolutely, make that car as wide as possible and make sure you do not give an inch whatsoever when you're holding on to the position. There you see your top 2 on screen. Kadlec focused, ready to try to go on the defense, while Rankin is ready to go on the attack if he gets some help possibly from Vasquez as they head over into the final couple of corners.
Hands off the wheel for a moment there on the straight for Martin Kadlec, a chance to reset the grip. Elvis Rankin very poised, searching into every corner, trying to keep the head as still as possible through this section, and now trying to work up. And I keep seeing Martin Kadlec look up into his virtual mirror and try and look behind and say, look, that's the driver behind that I'm trying to see right now. I don't want to be in a position where I'm struggling, and that anti-cut curb, you have to hit it square.
I'm concerned of how much both of them are looking at their virtual mirrors right now, as we now see Vasquez try to look to the inside as they come out of the Munzer turn, heading into turn number 3. This gives Rankin the inside advantage as he sets the corner and maintains position, but Vasquez goes down to the bottom of the racetrack as he tries to show the nose to the inside. Side-by-side battle for second as they head into Rauch.
And as well as that, Luke McEwen scrapping as well with Zander Reed, but it is Vasquez who gets the run down the hill and sorts it out here at Rauch corner. Behind that, McEwen deals with Zander Reed, and that second group now has got to try and figure out a way to get up there, and I don't think they've got it. 3 minutes 20 to go. They are running out of time, and Kadlec now has been given half a second's reprieve.
With those two battling, that is what Kadlec needed. Now, not focus too much on what's going on behind, but make sure you hit your mark as we talk and watch the battles for position. The battle for the lead and the battle for 11th as Deep is trying to hold off Shintani and Benitez as they work their way down the short chute.
Easy pass for Ralph Benitez. It was too wide from Shoma Shintani. Pablo Espez is then on the back of this and trying to work away forward. Cody Deeth on the front of that group. Race lead battle is going to try and set itself its stall and knows with 2 laps to go that this is going to be all about placement, right place, right time, and you're going to get it sorted. This is going to be a tough old race, and you can see there on the bottom how much they were having to scrap there and say, look, I've got to get what I can on this drive down the hill over towards turn 3. Big look in the backers shot there as they go almost 3 wide there. Xander Reed then being attacked by Alex O'Grady.
Everything is up for grabs here as O'Grady tries to find his way through the running order here. Great pass for position as he tries to hold off and get around Luke McEwen as we watch your top 3 heading down into route once again. Vasquez now just trying as we go for the battle for 5th. McEwen now has a lot of drivers around him with Reed and O'Grady putting the pressure on him.
Yeah, but they're not helping to get to Isaac Phelps in 4th, and that's what they'll worry about now, that they're dropping time, they're dropping placement here, Taylor. This is tough for them.
It really is, and now the question is going to be, do you settle amongst yourselves for that 5th position, or do you feel like trying to draw yourself closer to get a chance for maybe going for that extra spot? You don't have a shot for your top 3, but critical to get as many points as you can possible.
Martin Kadlacik has held himself out and done the donkey work all race long. Your reigning champion then, part of Red Bull Sim Racing, will look and see Xander Reed, will see Alex O'Grady, and will now be realising, right, it's a home circuit for my team. I've got to do what I can. Into turn 1 of Lauda, you can see Xander Reed trying to track extend as much as he can to get the run, and he looks like he's going to get it. Watch out nearer the front because Kadlacik still got 0.3 of a second, pulls alongside, has a bit of help from Isaac Phelps in front, and figures, where am I going to go and get this move? No looks from the main group then into turn 3. That's one of the best places to get it done. Big throw back by the champion, Luke McEwen, as he wants to try and work this back, but keep an eye on Kadlacik because turn 4 might be where Aaron Vasquez is going to go for it. Side by side here, Vasquez is going to now make a pull for the move for the race lead too. So now there's 2 battles going on at the same time. McEwen holds himself steady, Kadlacik still holds on, but here comes Vasquez looking to the outside now as he heads through turn 6. It's 2 corners, wrong side of Lady Luck at the moment. Will he learn the lessons of his teammate Miguel Costa? Kadlacik still has to hold him out, but Vasquez still sticks his nose in, still looks for another chance. He can't get the run, but is it going to be too deep through here now at turn 8? Jochen Ring turn 9 away, and still there's a run needed. Now looks to try and pinch and pinch and pinch back. Does Kadlacik? Any other driver, he would have been turned across the nose. Now around the outside of Jochen Ring. This is going to come down to the final corner. Vasquez trying to make the long move. It's going to be close. Watch out. Here comes Elvis Rankin. 3 wide to the line. It's going to be. It's Vasquez. He's got half a car. Oh, look at that fist bump from Aaron Vasquez. What a sensational win for him.
Look at the emotion right there by Vasquez to come home with the checkered flag. 3 wide finish here at the Red Bull Ring. An incredible drive. And I will say, though, it's going to be quite of a shakeup in the running order because we do have some penalties in our top 10. Luke McEwen and Alexander Reed also receiving some significant penalties.
Wow, 9 cars crossed the line with black flags then at the end. So we're going to have to keep an eye on who is going to be getting what and who drops what time with unserved penalties. But Aaron Vasquez, he's got money in the bank. He's got gas in the tank. He's the man out there, and he does it by 0.5 of a second over Elvis Rankin. Martin Kadlacik will come to the line in 3rd ahead of Isaac Phelps, and Alex O'Grady will end up then as P5. All things said and done. Henry Moore and Mehdi Kusha 6th and 7th, with Geordie Slater, Cody Deeth and Ralph Benitez rounding out your top 10.
Working through the rest of the field, Dana Moore recovered nicely to a top 15 finish here, along with Victor Miranda as well. And then, of course, you see Declan Webb and Benny Roberts rounding out your top 20. This is where it's critical. Luke McEwen, Xander Reed, Alejandro Sanchez, all outside the top 20 in the running order here. Critical loss of point standings here, and I gotta say, this is gonna be a big shakeup in the championship running order.
If you don't serve your black flag penalty by the time you get over the line, it is a 35-second time penalty at the end of the race, and that's why they have dropped so far down the order heading to the finish. Drivers out include Graham Carroll, Nicholas Rubilar, who had a good race. Miguel Costa's the big name on that page. He was going to be right up there thinking, right, championship lead at halfway. Now he's not going to have such fortune there, put himself into play. And we talk about this. This is a race of millimeters, a championship of millimeters, and it came down to 3 cars and 600ths of a second, Taylor.
That just shows you how close the competition is here in these Formula 4 cars. And I have to say, it was incredible. We talked about how last week's Road Atlanta race drawing over 150,000 viewers. I would be shocked if this one did not beat that record.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's the margin. That's the look when they go across the line. That is simply put magnificent. Half a car, well, 3/4 of a car there for Aaron Vasquez as he crossed the line. He will be simply put in dreamland.
He certainly will. And let's get a chance, hopefully, to talk to our race winner of Aaron Vasquez, as he will join us here momentarily. But an incredible drive, an incredible pass. Aaron, first and foremost, I got to say, I love the excitement coming from you, the emotion to get home this win here. I mean, walk us through that final couple of corners.
I don't know, man. Like, it was like insane race for me because in the start of the race, I was fighting with Luke McKeon a little bit, and I lost the draft almost, and I was like pushing a lot to back to the front group. So in some point, I was thinking that I was saying, okay, maybe I cannot fight with the guys in front because I lost the draft, and I was watching like the draft was not like too big like I was expecting to be in Red Bull Ring, to be honest, and was so difficult to back to get the draft. In some point, I say, okay, we back and let's try to win a race, because I was so excited from last year that I finished P3, but I was like finished P3 with 0 wins. So this year I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to win a single race at least in the championship. Doesn't matter if I finish like P10, P5, but I wanted to get a win at least in a Pro Series. So I got it. I'm so happy, and I made the job already for me. And I will try to continue doing this performance and see what we can do the rest of the championship.
No, we got a lot of great possibilities here. I mean, we don't know what to expect here, but now it's time for you to focus in. Big points for you in the championship. What can we expect to see you try to go for that next win with you and Grid and Go?
We're gonna try basically to still work it like we are doing basically. We're gonna try to continue like this, because I think we are in the right way. We are having the pace every round we doing. So I think Grid and Go, the group we have, I think is like really good. We are doing really good job, and I think we're having like the things we need to have for have the pace for win this championship. And I think if we continue like this, I think we can do a really good performance.
Well, that is Aaron Vasquez, your winner here today at the Red Bull Ring in amazing fashion. And we'll now talk to Elvis Rankin, and he is with Jake.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And well, Elvis, you know, you sit down today, you know that you were sat in the middle. A very tough, intense battle was always going to wait for that run, but it seemed like Aaron Vasquez just had an extra layer on his blue suede shoes.
Oh, you're gonna have to say it again. I had the thing muted, so my apologies.
Not a problem. A case for you there where Aaron Vasquez just seemed to have a tiny bit more there on a very close and hard-fought battle.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's like kind of Aaron, he had really good pace, right? He caught me and Martin. I was actually very surprised to see the breakaway at the start. But I felt like that Martin also had really good pace, so really made that happen. And I was just kind of riding, just trying to help him do his thing. And Aaron caught up. And yeah, I kind of was just trying to make sure, okay, so we get the top 3, then we can kind of fight it out from there. Kind of my whole plan, once I kind of was sitting third, was just let them two have at it, maybe try and set something up for the end. Just a little short, but overall super happy with how it did. Much better than Suzuka.
Yeah, it was very tough actually seeing what happened in round 3. So how did you change that mindset going into this round 4 race?
Honestly, yeah, so like in round 3, I was feeling a lot better for Suzuka than I was for Red Bull Ring. So honestly, but I did the qualifying accidentally on the wrong brake bias. I did it on like bias that was like 3% too far forward, and it didn't realize until I got on the grid, and I was actually quite impressed with how I was able to do with that. But then yeah, you just kind of caught up in the hornet's nest, and it was really, really sketchy around some of the guys, and I just got caught up in a small incident. But it's just like, just hit the reset button. You know, it's a brand new race, and then it's just about hitting up another solid Q lap, and I was able to do that. So that was just the main thing, was just reset and hit a good Q lap.
Well, the mentality's certainly there, and that is going to be a good giddy up for you in the second half of this season. Elvis Rankin there joining us from Coanda Esports there. Your driver who ends up third. He did all of the donkey work, Taylor, but he ends up with P3. Martin Kadlicek has caught up with you.
Martin, I gotta ask, how are you feeling after that final corner?
Yeah, obviously quite disappointed. It's kind of the same scenario as on Road Atlanta 2 weeks ago. I was leading the whole race, and then last 2 laps come, and then something happened. So yeah, quite disappointed. Obviously, you'll see what the stewards have to say. Aaron overtook me off the track, I would say, but it was a fair fight, nice fight. So I'm still happy. The quality was good, at least for me. Like I almost did a perfect lap, I would say. I couldn't even do that in practice, so I'm at least happy for that. Happy that I had the pace. Shame it didn't work out, but at least a bit of a better result than in the first race where I got an off track in the qualifying. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. Still happy with the P3 overall.
Well, we hopefully will can see some great performance for you for the rest of the season. We're at that halfway point. Still a good points haul for you after today's event.
Yeah, I hope to continue with these performances in the last 4 rounds, and we'll see. We'll see what tracks we will race next time, because Red Bull Ring is one of my strongest tracks, I would say. So I was kind of hoping I would be pretty good here, but still, I'm not even racing on my rig actually today. I'm on an event, so yeah, it was pretty hard for me to adapt, but obviously quite happy considering the circumstances, and I hope I can keep it up for the next 4 rounds.
Of course, that is Martin Kadlicek, your podium finisher here today at the Red Bull Ring. And I gotta say, Jake, it was heartbreak right there for him, but still a good point haul.
Well, let's take a look at these championship points, shall we? And while it is Aaron Vazquez now who leads by 12, a big margin for him. Look at how it stacks up for around that top 10. 3-way tie currently for that 5th place. And Henry Moore with the tie break there in 5th position as well. Will be very happy with that result. But it has absolutely thrown this championship open. And we were talking about Vazquez coming into today, Taylor, being absolutely nowhere in the field. Now he comes into it and he's walking away as leader by a good margin.
He absolutely is, and he is going to be definitely one to watch as we have now passed the halfway point of the championship. The question is going to be, who else can respond, who can go back to the drawing board and be able to capitalize on the next tracks that are coming up. Of course, we won't know till the day before, but they got to figure out which one it will be, and will it fit their interest and their driving style to try and do what we saw today. Kadlicek said Red Bull Ring was his best track of the season so far. He's looking to hopefully find another one of those to help him propel in the championship.
But that's the case of having rounds with only 24 hours worth of practice. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know how this championship will stack. But at least the report cards are in from the first half of this season. And there is just one word in the box that has to be said, and it is vamos, which is the word that has to be said. Aaron Vazquez has just put together the best week of his sim racing career, and now everybody stand up and take notice, because he is looking for victory, and Vazquez, vamos, is simply put uncatchable at this stage.